The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday, post time 5:45. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. By Prolific Equine, managing stallions and mares to create champions. By the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. And by Wire to Wire Wealth, strategies tailored to your needs.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus.
Happy to be here with you, Roger. Today we're up north. We're at Sahbra Farms, checking in with trainer Scott Cox and Sam Schillaci.
And after this message, we'll return and talk about Ohio 2-year-olds in training with trainer Scott Cox, and a little later on with Sam Schillaci.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus, as we're going to have our sit down with Scott Cox. And Scott, first question off the top of my head is, oh so fast. Last year was he your best 2-year-old?
Yeah, he was the best 2-year-old. We had another trotting colt that he just couldn't mature early enough.
Now, have you got an offspring this year, half sister to Oh So Fast?
Yeah. Yes.
How's she doing?
So far, pretty good. I don't know, that whole family, they have a kind of a desire to beat another horse, and that's kind of what it takes.
Do you have a tendency to go back to that family if you have a good one out of the family?
You know, at the sales we don't, but she's a homebred, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we do that, you know.
What kind of a year did you have last year with your 2-year-olds overall?
Overall, I think they did well. I mean, you could always do better.
Oh yeah.
You know, but yeah, they did well.
Primarily, you race your horses at Northfield, also at the Meadows, and
Yeah.
you got pretty good percentage this year. The Meadows.
Well, yeah, we kind of take something over that's going to do something, but the classification means a lot.
So the classification, does racing on a 5/8 mile track make a difference too?
The style racing does over there. You know, it's more like you're racing, but you're training at the same time. The younger, the lower classes.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, you at one time drove quite a bit.
Yeah.
No more.
Nah, too many accidents. I hurt too much.
Really?
Yeah.
You got smart.
Yes, I'm getting older.
Now, you know, one thing we've talked with a lot of our trainers about family involvement. Now, you got 2 boys and a daughter, yourself. Noah, he's with you, your second trainer.
Yep, he's coming along. Him and I have another, not my son, but he's been with me for 3 years, and him and Noah are the same age, and they kind of work good together, and they're learning.
Now, the other boy, though, not really interested in racing.
Nah, no. But, you know, maybe if he gets older. Noah really wasn't when he was younger. He was into sports, you know. So
The other boy and the daughter, they're still in high school?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you handle going to the sports and activities that they're involved with the racing?
They can drive now, so that's good.
That's good. It has to mean a lot to you, though, with Noah being involved? Because everybody likes to see their family get with them, and
Yeah.
have him there every day. It's a special bond.
Yeah, it's a work in progress,
Yeah.
but you know, he's really learned a lot. He really sits in the bike really good. It's just the extra stuff you got to learn along the way.
Well, the extra stuff, he was very nice in helping us out this morning, so
Yeah.
really appreciate that. You've got 8 that we're going to feature today, but you got a much larger group of 2-year-olds this year, right?
Yeah, we have 18, I think. So
Is that about normal for Scott Cox?
we went a little more this year. You know, Wayne Maston, Walt Callum, they've had a couple good years, and they've you know, put back into the business.
Yeah. Now, with the 2-year-olds that we got today, I noticed we got What the Hill, Ready for Money, Long Tom, the Ponderosa, another Ready for Money, another Long Tom, and a Dancing Yankee. You got quite a variety.
Yeah, we have, I think last year we didn't have as many pacers, but this year we have maybe 6, 7 pacers out of the bunch.
Now, you stay here and train all year at Sahbra Farms. What kind of a winter did you have?
It was long and cold. I don't think it ever got above 30. But when the ice set in, we got held back a little bit.
How much of a setback was it?
Maybe a couple weeks. But I always plan every winter that you're going to lose 2 weeks, whether it's 2 weeks in a row or stretched out over the time.
Did they get back to your normal pattern though eventually?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're putting the miles in early, and you know, we've had the miles in, so it was more low, so they just need to do a job. So
Now, a lot of people going Ohio, Kentucky eligible. Do you have any of those in your barn?
we had one, but I kind of told Wayne, let's just stick to Ohio. It's kind of hard to get that worked into Ohio, and if he was a little slower coming, I probably would have said, hey, let's go to little Kentucky, but he was.
It also seems that it's a lot easier for the real large stables of horses. If they got 50 or 60 horses, they'll spread them out.
Yeah, you can just put some that are dual eligible, they can just go to Kentucky, and the other ones can stay in PA or stay Ohio or stay where, you know, wherever.
What do you think about the purses that we're racing for here in Buckeye State?
Boy, they're pretty good. I just hope we maintain it.
Did you ever visualize back in your early days you'd be racing for as much money today?
You know, I'm one that never really looks at the purse because I'm superstitious, but I go look at it after the race. You know, you can't count your money before you make it. But I'm real shocked when you see some of the purses we used to race for, and I raced then.
Yeah.
But I really never really sunk in.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's unreal. I think I had it here somewhere in the vicinity that on your figures as a driver, $1,700,000 in earnings, and I think you started driving when you were 17 years old.
Yeah.
1989, if I'm correct.
If it was nowadays, I'd have about 3 million.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, you would.
It's totally changed.
Yes, it has.
Has the sale prices at the sales also gone higher?
You know, they have. But you could still get a nice horse. I mean, if you can, you know, just if you got a new owner coming in that doesn't want to overly go too much, you still can get a nice horse for a nice price.
It's very important. You bring it up, a new owner getting into the business. You almost, how do you handle that? Because, you know, that first experience is so valuable.
You know, the new owners come with the other owners you have. We actually have a new owner this year, and loves it. It's his hobby. I mean, he's got his own business, but it's actually Cornstar's owner's boss, and she's been with him forever. Worked for him, and he started coming around when she raced, and he loved it, and he's gotten involved in it last year and this year, and he just hoped you have a good one for them,
Right.
you know.
A friend of mine got involved with a larger stable, and he immediately, his very first horse was going to be a stake horse and everything, and he paid a percentage of the sale price, and pretty good hefty price for a first horse, and they turned the horse out after about 4 weeks and sold him, and he took a big loss. You don't want that to happen to your owners.
No, you don't. It's tough with the young ones. You just don't know. You just try to make them happy.
Do you ever steer them to get in the game and get a claimer to start out with?
I think it'd be better to get in with a younger horse.
Really?
Not a baby, but maybe a younger, like a 3-year-old that kind of showed racing, and some of them mature.
Yeah.
And sometimes the claimers, they might be lame next week.
Yeah.
You know.
So you get to manage both ways. I guess.
It's there's some guys that are really good with picking out claimers.
You know, I don't know why, I lead Scotty Cox more so with trotters, but you've had some big pacers in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think you still have a part of him, but Chase H. Hanover, he's still going strong.
Yeah, he's getting better with age.
Yeah.
You know, but that whole family did. That's why we bought him.
Yeah.
Because it was a racehorse family. We actually tried to buy the one last year. It looked a lot like him.
Yeah.
Brett Pelling bought him. But
that is the problem, though. When you have one that turns out good, the rest of them go.
yeah, that's why we don't really look at the other foals. If you have a nice one, a lot of times they don't have another nice one. But if you have a nice one, then more people are going to be interested in their next one.
If you had a choice, would you take a barn full of trotters or a barn full of pacers?
Trotters.
What's so good about the trotters?
It's very rewarding, you know. But I mean, if you have a really nice invitational pacer, I mean, there's no better feeling than that too. But trotter, they're just really rewarding.
Trouble is, though, you can have a good pacer and you finish 5th.
Oh yeah.
You have a good trotter, you got to shop for the win.
Yeah, real good.
So it's I can understand going with the trotters. When you were driving, was there major difference driving pacers to trotters?
Oh yeah, you have to be. They trotters can grind it out a little more. I mean, there's certain pacers that are grinders, but you got to be quick with them pacers.
Yeah.
You know.
And last question. With trotters and with pacers, though, you quit driving because of accidents and stuff. Were the accidents all with pacers?
No.
So that's a fallacy.
Probably my last accident it wasn't even in a race. We was post parading.
Now wait a minute.
We hit head on. Me and Kurt Sugg. I just wasn't paying attention.
Really?
Yeah, that one really put me out.
Did one of you get dazed?
Nah, I was in the hospital.
That's something that's unreal, because you'd be surprised the number of accidents in harness racing that involve head-on collisions warming up.
Yep.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
But anyway, we wish you luck with your 2-year-olds, and it looks like you got a nice crop, because it looked pretty good out there today.
You know, so far, this is May, so another month, and see if we can keep them healthy.
Well, this will be aired on June the 5th. That's a month away.
Yeah, so
you qualify them second week of June, probably.
Probably a couple times right in there.
Northfield or the Meadows?
Both. I'll probably split them up a little. And I mean, depending on what time Scioto goes. Scioto's not as far as Miami Valley is, you know.
You're in the big busy time of the year.
Yeah, this is what you work all winter for.
You train in the morning and racing every night.
Yep.
Long days.
Yep, but you grow up doing it, so.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
All right.
We'll, after this message, Ashley Daly will go through the barn and take a closer look at the 2-year-old Ohio breds with Scotty Cox.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus. Let's go ahead and head inside of the Scott Cox stable to check out 8 of his up-and-coming Ohio breds. Our first stop is Filly Trotter Magical Gold by What the Hill out of Magical Angel and Archangel mare. Now, Scott, what has impressed you so far about this filly?
Boy, she's been like very fluid. She trots nice long reach. And great attitude, you know. She loves to go out, loves attention, and she'll drive you crazy. Like she drove me crazy at the beginning, just because you walk in, she wants fed first. I've tried making her fed last, and it just doesn't work. But yeah, she's knock on wood, she's been really good.
Say it's hard to miss her. She's got quite a bit of white on her face, a
Yep.
couple feet. You did mention with Roger you're a little superstitious. How do you feel about those white feet?
That's one thing I never worried about.
Yeah?
Nope. We kind of work with them. Yeah, that part of the superstitious didn't, no. It's if they start winning, it's whatever you wear.
So how is she rigged right now?
She just wears bell boots and trotting boots. No hobbles. And for What the Hill, she's very laid back on the track.
Seems like you got her for about $15,000 out of the Ohio Selected. It is the first foal out of this mare. So
yeah, we didn't even really look at her. I spotted her in the book the night before, and Sanina told me the day before, don't pass up on the first horse. I say a lot of times people don't want to, you know. And so I called Wayne that night, and I said, hey, when we get there in the morning, let's take a quick look at her. I said, this is something about her. And then when we went and looked at her, I thought, boy, you know, so I thought we could get her pretty good.
Say Wayne's had a lot of luck with trotters in some recent years, so hopefully that's going to translate onto her.
Yeah.
There we go. There's our first Filly Trotter Magical Gold. Another Filly Trotter, Ladies Lucky Money by Ready for Money out of Luck Be This Lady, a Cantab Haw mare. This one we got for $23,000 again out of the Ohio Selected. What originally turned you on to her?
Well, Dave Reed, he owns part of her. He told Jason that we had to go around and look at all the Ready for Monies. I think he owns part of Ready for Money, and he said he's already looked at them all, and he said you guys take a look, and then we'll see what we like. And this one kind of liked her, you know, from the get-go, and we didn't think she'd be very expensive.
Is it confirmation that you like about her? You know, her size as a trotter?
Yeah, a lot of times her attitude, it's sales, you know. But yeah, plenty long, and she had a nice rear end on her, and she had a nice length to her leg, so yeah.
Roger mentioned in your sit-down interview that, you know, your stable's kind of spread all over the place when it comes to stallions. How are the Ready for Monies comparing for you?
I like them a lot. I like long toms, but I think Ready for Monies are my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, they're a little, like, she's very tough in her mouth. She's probably had 10 different bits on, and but boy, can they're very strong. They're very and they trot very nice, and we'll see how fast they can go. But I think they'll be fast. but I think they're going to be able to hold their speed.
When it comes to that many changes in bits, different rigs, do you ever find they get frustrated? Or is it really just help them at the end of the day?
Her, I don't know, because I still don't think I got the right bit on. She just likes to fight you a lot, but she doesn't get discouraged of it. It's just her way.
I say maybe the learning stage of it all. So what's her gait like?
Real nice. If you watched her jogging, you wouldn't like her. She doesn't look like, but training, when you sit behind her, it's like driving a pacer. Like if she throws herself and you have to jerk her out of a hole, it's, knock on wood, she's like never missing a beat. And
now the last filly we just talked about, are they training together in pairs, or how do you?
They did yesterday. It's kind of how it's set up, but I try to keep something that can go with her, because I don't never like just cutting a mile out front or back or sitting behind. So it gives her somebody that she can follow a little bit.
And there is Ladies Lucky Money, a filly trotter. One more filly trotter, I'm a Tommy Girl by Long Tom out of Punk's Embrace by Super Punk. This is a family that Roger mentioned you've had some experience with, not only Oh So Fast, but I believe half sibling to Cornstar as well.
Cornstar, yep. We got Cornstar, what is she now? She might be 5. Her 3-year-old year, maybe about July. And great owner, Vicky Jennings, and she knew she'd make mistakes, but just good owners, when they make mistakes, they don't get discouraged, But and then she always keeps the fillies. She sells the colts. That's how Wayne and Walt ended up buying Oh So Fast a year ago, because he was colt. She keeps the fillies because she likes to breed them. So this is a filly. When it comes to ranking up against her siblings, how's she feel? She's farther along than he was last year. He got a little bit colt sore, so I had to back off with him. But he was she's not big, but he was a lot smaller than her. Do you find her temperament is any different, compared to the colts versus her sister? No. If you're giving them treats and they all they all sound exactly the same. Yeah.
Do they move? Are they moving the same then?
Yeah, they have a little bit of a funny gait to them when they trot, but when they go fast, it's just smooth. But hers she's a different sire. She's a long time, so when she goes out and jogs, she's a lot smoother going. And I guess the mare herself, she was a pretty nice little mare. She made $162,000, a decent mark. I know this is a homebred. Where do you fall in line as a trainer when Vicky sends you something? Do you take a look beforehand, or is the first time you're looking at them when they come in the barn? That's the first time I looked at when she came in. Oh, she always sends pictures when they're born, and then the following year, and then she'll send some videos of them trotting through the field. But being up close to them, no. She lives up in Michigan, so, So hopes for her this year, how is she staked? We always back everything up with fairs, but Sire Stakes and Stallion Series. Yeah. So going all the way, hoping for the best. Yeah, hopefully we can just go through Sire Stakes, because then you're just given about 7-8 starts, and that's a problem. Your nicer colts, fillies, do you try to limit them on how many starts they're going out their first year? Yeah, because they have to race so hard in the Sire Stake program that you hate to burn them up, Right. And there we go. I'm a Tommy Girl, a filly trotter. Our first gelding trotter, Gil by Uncle Peter out of Abbey, a Master Glide mare, another homebred. Yeah. So how is he turning out on the track right now? He come to us a couple weeks ago. Bob has all his young horses trained at Pinehurst. He likes to go down and go golfing. And the fella Dave Jamoni trained him, and he said he'd been training real nice. And actually, we just got him back up and trained him a couple times, but he seems like he's okay. You know, he might be maybe just a little bit behind where I'm at, but not much.
That's what I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
especially with somebody else starting out.
Yeah.
What is that communication like with the other trainer when you're getting something new in your barn a little bit later in the early season?
I like to know like how they did it, but you know, I always put mine on a program. Like I vaccinate a lot and I worm a lot. So that's the part that I want to make sure that was done. And then how many times where they've trained at and how many times they've done it.
Did you change any rigging or keep it the same?
I haven't changed anything yet. I'll probably change a little bit of shoeing because they don't really put the boring one down there. And Uncle Peter's, it seems like some of them need a little bit more weight. And but he trained pretty good. I just got to get his hobble set up the right size.
And then when it comes to the track, I know it's right now we're early May, so we won't be airing this for a little bit, but what's he going down in? We said he's a little bit behind.
I just went in 20 yesterday, so he's not far behind.
When it comes to the track size here, it is a half mile, but it's shaped almost like a 5/8.
Yeah, it's about like Delaware.
That's how Roger described it earlier to me. Do you take these guys to Northfield much to get them used to a half that's shaped differently, or do you just roll on through the qualifiers?
We just go to the qualifiers. Years ago when I didn't have as many, we did, you know, because we don't really have shadows. So we take them up. If there's one that I think that has to learn them on the shadows, sometimes I send it to Ty Loy, and then Ty will send one out for us, and he'll get them to where they can, you know, just to let me know how they are up there. I hate to cause an accident, you know.
Have you had any problems with your 2-year-olds wanting to look? Is he a looker? Does he have any kind of anxiety, any quirks?
No, and actually they've all been good by the tractors, but we get them out there by the tractors in winter. So, no, he hasn't minded anything.
Do you ever bring the schooling gate out here, or is that just up in north?
They'll bring one out.
Okay.
They have an old John Haig starting gate here. And we'll gate school here.
And there is Gil, our gelding trotter. Our first pacer to be featured is a gelding Simon Says Go by Dancing Yankee and Our Unofficial Girl colt by Artificial. So another homebred, that seems to be a common theme here in your barn. This is actually the first colt, though, out of the mare. Any superstitions when it comes to that?
You know, we had a sister to him, but not a full sister, but she really didn't have the desire, but he kind of, so far I kind of like him. We was fortunate enough, Josh Green sent Dancing Yankee to us a couple times, and boy, what a nice horse to train he was, but he kind of reminds me of him, like his gait and his size, and he kind of enjoys doing it.
I was going to say, you said that he wants to do his job, but I guess outside of that, you know, his mind on the track, is he very focused? Is he still playful?
Oh yeah. He's the only one that don't like the tractors very much yet, but he will, you know.
And now, do you throw pace and hobbles right on immediately and you keep them on? We've had a couple trainers featured that actually won't even jog some of their 2-year-olds in hobbles.
Once we start training, we only put them on training days, unless there's one that struggles pacing or something. But before that, they've probably wore them. They wore them a lot. When we broke them to them, we wore them a lot. You know. Do
you break your own colts?
Some we broke. Eddie Miller's broke some. Trackside Farm, and we break the later ones. The ones that are getting broke early, I really don't want them coming in while we're still racing the other horses.
We just talked about, you know, one of our trotters is going around that 220 mark. What are our pacers going in right now?
We just went in 212. Most of the other ones 212 to 215. We just have a couple sets like they're in the 20 to 23. We have maybe 2 sets of them.
Is that right where you want to be, a little faster? Of
No,
course.
I think that's about where we want to be.
Okay.
You know, had some bad weather, so we haven't overtrained, and they've been kind of pretty fresh.
So he seems to be a little bit taller of a colt.
Yeah, he's a nice size. He's gotten bigger.
I'm sure that throughout the whole year. Do you ever, I guess, you talked about colt soreness earlier.
Yeah.
Any worries with that, with him?
Along the way, he didn't show me none. So that if they do, they would already been showing you a little bit.
So there we go. Simon says go, a gelding pacer. Our next stop is gelding trotter Tom Largo by Long Tom out of Smith Hall, a Valley Victor mare. This was a $25,000 purchase from the Ohio Select. How is he shaping up right now?
He's been training good. We kind of backed off just a little bit. He did get a little colt sore, but he's growing so much. And we just kind of grabbed the cedar oil out and started doing that, and he's kind of stopped his growing, and he's kind of come around.
When it comes to his gait on the track, any quirks, what's he looking like?
He's got a really nice gait. Very clean going, and a lot of times long times they interfere a little bit, but he's pretty clean going.
We talked about, cedar oil and some of that more basic things, but we've stopped at a couple different stables that really like the additional therapies, whether it's salt water, Magna Waves. Do you do anything in your stable?
I Magna Wave a lot. I like that. I mean, it's to see it work, you got to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a one-time, once-a-week thing, but boy, I like it on myself.
Will you put your 2-year-olds on it right away, or do you wait till they're
I
racing?
haven't put no 2-year-olds on it, but will I? Yes. I have done him when he showed me some colt soreness. We did do him, and they love it. I mean, they like it.
When do you ever start worrying about size? I mean, he's not huge. We've seen larger, but he's got some height to him.
This is about right. When they get taller, I just like them to be a little bit bulkier, but this size and bulkier.
Yeah. So do you do anything additional to help him help some of these colts grow into themselves?
No, they get to go to the field once a week, so I think that helps them a lot. And we get some sun in Ohio here, will help us.
So your farm here, you guys are kind of lucky. You've got some turnout. I guess that wasn't even a question that I thought about asking. What does that regimen look like?
Day after they train, they go out in the field. Day after they race, they go out in the field.
Do you think that helps?
The one field, I think it helps.
With soreness or soundness?
I do.
Yeah.
It keeps them fresh, keeps them happy. We had a bunch of trainers yesterday. I'll take 5 colts. If there's 5 geldings have to go out, they go out together. They love it. I just try not to worry about it.
And there is gelding trotter Tom Largo. Our last gelding trotter is Moon Time Money, a ready for money gelding by Rev Encore Dream. Say this was a $30,000 purchase out of the Lexington Select. So when it comes to buying horses, of course, we've talked a lot about our homebreds today. Let's flip the switch. What sales are you really focusing on?
Which sale? Mm-hmm. Whatever's in order. We always kind of go to Ohio, but then there's a lot of Ohio breds selling at Lexington now. So we kind of go down there and try to look at some, just to see. And then after that, Harrisburg.
What did you like about him, first off?
He's just long. I think Anvil and Lace sold him, but I really, when Dave Reed told me and Jason to look at some, this is when I told Jason, and actually Wayne Mast ended up buying him because that Jason wasn't interested, so I told Wayne he was heading down the sale, and I said, I think I really like this colt, you know. And he just had a nice length, but good mannered, and he's actually grown a lot. At the sale, he was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
He's actually grown a lot more.
Is this one that you broke here yourselves or farmed out?
I think trackside broke him. Not sure. Yeah.
Was he easy for them?
Yeah, I think they only had. There was one, the Lady Lucky Money. That was the tough one. I'm pretty sure Eddie told me that.
When it comes to how he's rigged and going on the track now, how you're feeling pretty confident?
Yeah. I have no hobbles. Just bell boots, trotting boots, and just one head pole. But he's really he really picked it up when we was about in 240. Like he's been just a dream the whole way down. Whether, you know, of course he's still a long way to go, but that's why him and the other Ready for Money are kind of a little bit of go-to him.
How does he compare to the other colt?
He's probably easier in his mouth, you know, but yep, they both have like really a desire to do it.
And there is Moon Time Money, a gelding trotter. Our final stop is filly pacer Cool Lady Rosa by the Panda Rosa out of Coupon Lady by Expensive Scooter. Say my first thing I noticed was the Panda Rosa is a very old stud. So
Yeah.
how do we end up with her?
This is my sister's. She bred her. This is her last foal. She got a home for the mare, and so I think she's got a lot of promise that way. Goes real nice. I haven't had a lot of Panda Rosas. I've had some, but boy, she's good attitude.
How's working with your sister? How's working with family? Especially when it comes to her owning and training.
She doesn't come she just comes training days.
Could be worse,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not too demanding on that
Yeah.
part. So you like her quite a bit right now.
Yeah.
Is it her gait? Is it her attitude? Is it everything combined?
Everything, and like she's got a really good gait. She's a nice sized filly, but she strides long, and I hope she does well for her.
When you're training groups, do you like to keep, because your stable is a little bit larger this
Yeah.
year, do you like to keep fillies with fillies, colts with colts? Do you like to mix them up, just depending on how fast they're going?
A lot depends on how fast they're going, but who does it easier. But she came in a little bit later, so she's just a little behind. She's probably in 25, so she's with a other one that was a little slow coming, so backed off, and it helped the other one. You know, sometimes you just back off with them and it'll help the other one pull back along.
When you say they're slow coming, is there ever a point as a trainer that you decide, maybe they need, another year to mature, or do they just click at some point and they catch up with everybody else?
You can tell. I mean, you can tell if it's gonna click in. Some of them just need to get to a track too, but a lot of times you can tell if it's going to click. And then a lot of times you keep them in too long, you might as well have them out in the green grass. You know.
There was our final filly pacer Cool Lady Rosa and Scott Cox's 8 colts. So we are going to head to a commercial, and then we will be right back with Roger Houston.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus, and now with Sam Schillaci. And Sam, I've heard your name for years. Of course, Jody, I've known her family for years as well, but this is the first time I've really met you, and got quite an operation of horses here.
Well, thank you. I mean, my wife is the biggest contributing factor to everything that goes on here. I mean, I come in the morning and you know, do a lot of the jogging and training, and then usually I'm gone to take the horses to the track, and she's here to, you know, tidy up at the end of the day. She takes care of all the little things that are most important.
Of course, she's from a large family, the Stark family of New York. John, of course, the brother, and then what are there, 5 sisters, I think, or 4?
I think there's 5. A very, very, very competitive racing family. Yeah. I mean, all their sisters were all involved in the business at some point. Yeah. Her brother is a fantastic, you know, trainer, driver, and he's getting a little older now as the rest of us. But, you know, he's had a couple of world champions. A very, very great family.
What was the big horse he had a few years back?
Bunny Lake.
Bunny Lake, owned by the gentleman up there in New York as well. Can't come up with his name now, but I knew him and his wife from my few days up at Vernon Downs in that area as well.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story with your Schillaci family. You just had your, what, 25th wedding anniversary?
25th wedding anniversary, yep. It's been a fantastic 25 years.
But you know, going back further than that, you guys were together because she has quite a training career, you have tried a training career, and when you add them both together, more than 3,500 wins.
I mean, we've had a lot of success. Yeah. I mean, back in the early 90s, back in the Buffalo Raceway days, she had a big stable of her own. I always had a small stable, 10 to 15 horses. Generally, they were young horses. You know, I had a couple of partners. We bought, you know, 8, 10, 12 babies every year and broke them in, raced them as 2 and 3-year-olds, and then sold them, and then went on and bought some more. But I was doing a lot of catch driving back then, and I was actually driving her stable of horses. That's how we got to know each other.
To put them together, you have 3,664 wins in both of your careers, over almost $26 million in purses. You're at $25,812,000, so you're going to jump up another million here shortly.
Wow, I'd like to know where it all went to.
I think every trainer in the business says that.
I mean, the business nowadays is fantastic. You know, years ago, you know, 20 years ago, it was a grind. You know, the purses weren't that much. That's why we moved from New York to here to Northfield, because Buffalo and Batavia, where we were originally from, the purses weren't good. You know, the racing was dying in the business, and even though they did not have the slots here at Northfield, you know, the purses were fantastic.
You mentioned you were a driver. I think the actual figure is 3,391 wins in your career, and as a driver, $14 million in earnings, and that's back when the purses weren't that great.
No, we weren't racing for a lot of money, and you know, I still miss driving a lot, but I haven't driven that much over the last 15 years because we've had a big operation of horses, and you know, we've been forced to do a lot of the work ourselves. As far as, you know, I'm always transporting the horses to and from the track and warming up at night, and it's really hard to, especially on nights when we race 12, 15 horses, to be warming them all up, pay attention to everything that's going on in the paddock, and try to drive also. And it was a lot easier when I was 30 years old instead of now that I'm in my 60s.
That has also resulted in a smaller stable of late, a lot of it due to just can't find employees.
Well, that's the biggest reason. I mean, we are both very competitive, and even up until recently, we had in the low 40s as far as horses, and we've had a couple people that left us for various reasons. You know, some people went on their own, opened up their own stables, and some people just don't want to do it anymore. So, you know, we've been forced to cut back. Over the last 2 months, we've recently gotten rid of about 15 horses. But you know, to be quite honest with you, I mean, I miss the competitiveness and miss racing a lot of horses, but mentally having less horses and less help is a lot less stressful.
And that is carried over to your young horses, where in the past maybe you have 5 to 10, you're down to just 3 2-year-olds this year.
Yeah, I mean, originally we were only going to buy 2 this year, and the main reason is the help situation. I really enjoy young horses. I've always been involved in them all my life. I mean, we all buy them for the one main reason, to hope to get that champion. But all the best race horses I've had in my whole adult life have come from babies that I've bought and developed into nice racehorses.
So you don't automatically sell them after their 3-year-old campaign?
No, not automatically. If they show some talent and they act like they could be good middle to high condition horses, then generally we will keep them.
Yeah. Now I see in the 3 2-year-olds that you've got this year, I think you've got, what was it, 2 fillies, or are they all fillies?
2 fillies and 1 colt.
Okay. They are all down by the seaside. Was that planned?
Well, not really. I mean, the colt wasn't even planned at all. I mean, originally we had thoughts of buying just 2 fillies this year, because we've always had success with fillies. And one of the fillies we bought at the select sale. We didn't even go there. I was just happened to be watching it on the phone, and I got itchy. And because I wasn't intending to go there, I was hoping to get a couple fillies at Lexington, and I bought one just over the phone because you know, I liked the way she looked. I had Scott Cox look at her for me, and you know, and I just got itchy sitting there watching on the phone.
You know, you mentioned Scott. He's here. You're here. What was your first year here at Sahbra?
I think our first year here at Sahbra was 2001.
Yeah, I was trying to find out today, and I should have done more research on it, but when this facility was originally built, it had to be back in the 80s, I'm guessing, maybe even earlier than that.
I remember seeing photos in the Horseman and Fair World back when we were in New York.
In New York.
I mean, and it was a beautiful place, I mean, to look at the photos. And even in 2001 when we moved here, I mean, it was very beautiful. And it's gotten a little bit run down over the years. I mean, there was years where there was hardly any horses here but us.
Yeah, I know. I go back to, they invited me to come here and announce a matinee program they had, and they also wanted me to drive in a matinee race. And I said, well, okay, no problem. I says, who can do the broadcast with me? And they said, oh, we got this young kid at Northfield by the name of Dave Bianconi. And actually, when I drove in the matinee race, Bianconi announced his very first harness race.
No kidding.
Right here at Sahbra Farms.
What year was that, do you remember?
It had to be in the mid-80s, somewhere around there, because I started driving in '84, so sometime after '84, and I know it was early in my career.
This place was definitely a show place back in the day.
It sure was. How many horses do you think train here?
Right now, I'm going to say there's probably, it might be between 120 and 130 horses here at the moment.
Really? Half-mile track or 5/8?
Half-mile track, but it's a very kind half-mile track. I mean, the track itself is a fantastic track. I mean, you can train a horse here just as much as you want to go.
The turns are more like Delaware, though.
Yeah, they're kind of flat. They're not banked a lot. I mean, over the years we've lost some of the bank, and because they haven't you know, actually had the track scar fired and really taken care of like they should have. But still, it's a fantastic track, and it's very good to training young horses.
Yeah. What is limestone?
It's a limestone track, yes.
Now, how many days did you probably miss this winter?
This winter, we probably missed more days this winter than we have in the 24 years that we've been here. And it's only because we had a couple different ice storms, and some ice got into the track, and they just couldn't get it out because it stayed too cold.
Did that set you back much?
Not really. I don't really find that that missing, you know, days here and there really makes a big difference come springtime.
Maybe it helps.
I mean, it's really tough to say. I mean, I think really as trainers sometimes we can overdo it, and then also you have to have a lot of luck.
Do you go with the same schedule for young horses to qualify in June to get ready for hopefully some stakes?
Well, I mean, that's really the rule of thumb. But when, you know, I buy young horses and I have young horses, I don't ever take them to qualify until they tell me they're ready.
Yeah. So actually you're thinking more of an extended career, because you mentioned earlier you like to keep them on as a seasoned racehorse.
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of trainers that do young horses as their only source of income.
Yeah.
You know, our main source of income is with the raceway horses. I mean, obviously we want to get that champion like everybody else does, but more importantly, with the people that we got that invest in stuff, I look to maybe possibly make that nice champion or a nice stakes horse, but if not, I'm looking for long term.
Okay. Well, Sam, we thank you for sitting down and spend a few minutes with you, and Ashley's going to go into the barn and talk to and see your 3 Ohio breds in training, all down by the seaside. So after this message, we'll return with Ashley Daly and Sam Schillaci in the barn taking a look at those young 2-year-olds.
Thank you, Roger.
Captain Kirk is standing his 2nd year in 2025 here in the state of Ohio, and he's attracting some of the best broodmares in the entire industry. You want to breed to a stallion that can step your mare up. And if you're breeding to sell those foals, you have to breed to the stallion that the biggest bidders will pay a premium to acquire. Captain Kirk stands at Winterwood Farm, and his introductory stud fee of only $3,000 ends after the 2025 season. So book your mare today. Write down this website. Go to CaptainKirkInfo.com to get all the details right now.
Let's go ahead and finish our episode with 3 of Sam's Ohio breds. Our first stop is Filly Pacer Beach Babe Hanover by Down by the Seaside out of Bittersweet Terror, a Western Terror mare. This was a $60,000 purchase out of the Harrisburg sale. So when you're going to all these sales, we noticed with Scott that he has a lot of homebreds, but what are you looking for?
Well, actually, you know, we're looking for something that possibly could be a stakes horse, but we're looking for something with the pedigree that could possibly be a long-term racehorse. I mean, this filly here, she has a great family of mediocre to decent stake horses, but great race horses, horses that have got $400,000 or $500,000 made. I know that her mother's had, I think this one here is the 8th foal, and 7 of them have raced, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them with over $500,000.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was the first thing I noticed, is that everything that her mare has thrown has made it to the track, which is already a check, right? So when you're going into pedigree, are you focusing a lot then on the mare?
Well, yeah, I like to see a mare that throws not only racehorses but longevity, and you know, her mother has thrown like you said, every single one has made it to the races, but a lot of them are still racing today.
So what do we like about Beach Babe Hanover?
Well, I mean, Beach Babe Hanover, I mean, there was a half a dozen fillies at Harrisburg that we had looked at, and I personally like, you know, fillies that are a little on the smaller side. I don't like big, heavy fillies, and she was one of the few that we liked her pedigree, we liked her conformation, and she was our main target after we had looked at all the fillies in Harrisburg.
And how is she, characteristics on a track, how is she handling it right now?
Characteristics on the track, I mean, I've never had a seaside filly until this year. Extremely lazy, but when you turn her the right way of the track, she does her work very willingly, as long as she's following somebody. She's quite content to follow, and she'll go all day long and very happy doing it, and loves to pass on the end. But you know, early in the mile, she really hasn't figured out, you know, the characteristics of racing on the front yet. You know, and when she is in the lead, you know, she's very lazy, and you kind of have to make her do her work. Not that she's not sulky, not one bit, you know, and she loves to do her work, but she would rather be following horses at this point.
Have you ever had a colt filly come through where rigging has helped that and a change in equipment, or is that just time?
As time goes by, every few weeks, I will change their bridle and change different things to hopefully make them more aggressive. But to be quite honest with you, at this point right now, early in the training, I mean, we're only in the lower 20s. I'm very content with them just following along as long as they do their work and they're able to go the times that I want them to go. The rest is irrelevant. I mean, sooner or later they will figure that part out, and better for them to be a little bit more on the lazy side. That's what I've found than being too aggressive.
And there is Beach Babe Hanover, a filly pacer. Another filly pacer, I'm a Beach Girl, down by the seaside out of Teapot, Hanover. Another Western Hanover mare. This was out of the Ohio selected jug sale.
Yeah, I mean, she was a filly, to be quite honest with you. I never really even thought about buying. We never went to the select sale. Yeah, I sat home and I watched the select sale on TV. And you know how it is when you're at a sale. I mean, especially if you like to buy horses, you get the itch to want to buy something. And throughout the sale, there was a couple other ones that I had looked at, through their pedigree and on video. And I had some of my friends check them out at the sale, and they went a little bit higher than I wanted to spend. When I bought her, I was just looking to buy a mediocre bred filly to train with a better bred filly that maybe I bought at another time, whether it would have been Lexington or Harrisburg. And she was something that caught my eye, and we just bought her over the phone. I never seen her until she arrived here, but I went by my friend Scotty Cox. I had him look at her for me, and he said she had good confirmation, and she was a good looking filly, and we just decided to purchase her.
Sounds like you and Scotty have quite a relationship. I think he's even hauling some horses to you're hauling some Northfield horses to race this evening, right?
Yeah, we all work together here. I mean, I'll take him in, he'll bring him home. It's just much easier to work together instead of try to do everything yourself.
When it comes to everybody having 2-year-olds here, do you ever work together or compare notes?
I love to train with Scotty, but I mean this year, most importantly this year, the 2 fillies that I have are both extremely lazy. And if I'm going to train a young horse with somebody that's training another young horse, I like to be able to do part of the work. These 2 fillies are almost like identical twins. They're great followers and they finish good, but neither one wants to be on the lead. So generally, I'll go the first trip. Now that we're going 2 trips, I'll go together with them. And then the fast mile, I will use a racehorse to prompt them along. That way neither one of them has to go on the lead. They can just both follow along. And then I can slow the racehorse up a little bit on the end to let them go by and let them really enjoy the passing part at the end. Where, if being that they're so lazy, and if I'm going to train with somebody like Scotty, I don't want to just follow his babies. And if they're not going to pass and do the way that they're supposed to do, I just as soon do it myself with a racehorse.
And when it comes to her gait, was she a natural from the start, or if you had to teach some?
No, she was an extremely natural from the start. I mean, both of these fillies are really good gaited fillies. They pace free-legged. They're very simply rigged. They don't wear a lot of equipment, and let's hope it stays that way.
When it comes to blinds, I think she's got some, or do you have her completely opened up?
Well, both fillies jog. They will jog in open bridles. And on training days, the Beach Babe filly, she will train with can't see backs, and this filly trains with a blind bridle.
And there we go. I'm a Beach Girl, a filly pacer. Our gelding pacer, Sweet Wave, down by the seaside, out of Sweet and Swifty, a Sweet Blue mare. He's a big colt, hard to miss.
He is a very beautiful colt, and actually we bought him at Lexington, and he wasn't planned. We hadn't planned on buying a colt in Lexington. Actually, we were looking specifically for fillies, and we seen him out. And the group of guys that I was with, we've all purchased a nice seaside colt last year, and we decided to get together and try and purchase him. Actually, he was a very expensive purchase. He was a $145,000 yearling. We didn't think he would be that expensive, but sometimes you get a little caught up in everything when you're doing the bidding, and we ended up buying him.
What do you think prompted that price? When I was looking back a little, his dam had one start, made no money, and I think he might have had a half sibling with a couple thousand on his card. Why so expensive?
I don't know. I think it had to be the second dam. You know, when we seen him and I looked at his pedigree, I mean, I thought that he would be probably a reasonably, maybe a $70,000, $80,000, purchase, which would be expensive, but for a Seaside, and it's just an average price nowadays. I mean, the Seasides seem to be very expensive, and the Ohio horses in general, decent bred horses, are kind of expensive.
We said the fillies are a little lazy. What's his mannerisms?
He was very tough to break, very tough. I mean, he didn't want to do things right. He was always kind of nervous and edgy. Very good gaited, been very good gaited right from the beginning. He never would want to walk to and from the track. He was always antsy. He always wanted to be moving. We knew after we purchased him, we did the baby x-rays on him, and he had OCDs in his hocks. So I went with him, I got him going. I went with him a little bit early in mid-January. He was, going miles around 245 because I knew we were going to have to give him some time off. But he was doing it, but I wasn't happy with his overall demeanor. I mean, he would go out and he would do his work, no problem. Liked to lean to the exits quite a bit. Very ornery. He wouldn't wear head poles. He wanted to do things his way. So we ended up having the surgery, and when he come back after surgery, he was actually worse. First couple weeks back jogging after surgery, and even a couple times, he wanted to try and run off the track, and he was very unhappy, and his edginess got more and more pronounced, and he was just getting where I thought that we might have a chance on losing him if we didn't decide to do something. I mean, it took us a month to really decide to geld him, and it wasn't something that we really wanted to do. I mean, when you pay that kind of money for a horse, you really don't want to geld him. But I think at this point, he's been gelded now for about 6 weeks, and he's made a 180-degree turnaround. He's a perfect gentleman now.
Was it almost instant, or did it take a couple weeks?
It took about 2 or 3 weeks, but it's been about 6 weeks now. He wears head poles, he wears any kind of equipment that I want to put on him. He will walk to and from the track. He'll walk all the way around the track, where before, as soon as he got to the track, he wanted to go. And he was getting where he would be chomping at the bit and grinding his teeth before, and now he's become a perfect gentleman.
Assuming he's staked through the sire stakes as well, or?
He's staked through the sire stakes. We got him in some races in Lexington. I think we might have even kept him eligible to the Breeders' Crown. Only, when you buy these things, obviously we always look for champions. I mean, we paid that kind of money for him, so, we're looking for a good return. And, we can only dream and hope that he can become that kind of horse.
And there is Sweet Wave, a gelding pacer. Sam, we thank both you and Jody for letting us hang out. And
not a problem, anytime.
Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. We'd like to thank Scott Cox and Sam Schillaci and all their fine help for making our job very easy today on this edition. Join us again next week, same time, same location, for Freshman Focus.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 8th with the next generation July 5th. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standard-bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. By Prolific Equine, managing stallions and mares to create champions. By the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. And by Wire to Wire Wealth, strategies tailored to your needs. Freshman Focus is a production of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.